Staging is overrated, except for these three things that really matter. I'm going to take you through them. I'm Dan Beer with Beer Home Team at eXp Realty. Staging is completely overrated, talked about too much, made out to be the one and only thing that matters. And for the most part, I think that's overplayed by agents that do not have a strategy. Though having said that, there are three things that matter in staging. I'm going to take you through them so you can make sure that you get those three in every one of your future home sales, and make sure there's a great strategy behind it, of course. So the first thing that matters in staging is actually, before you even touch any of the furniture, it is deferred maintenance. You can have all the best furniture in the world. You could have all the best staging. You could have all the, you name it, okay? The world's best designer. If there's deferred maintenance around the house, the torn window screen, the soiled driveway that's just clearly not been cleaned in 3 decades, the doorknob that's all rusted out, if you have deferred maintenance, in the landscape, for example, would be the mulch, it's just gone, it's dried out, it's disappeared. Or, of course, those famous floorboards that are just nicked up, totally scratched up, and clearly not taken care of. What happens is consumers look at these things and say, this house hasn't been taken care of. This house has not been maintained. If the floorboards look like that, what else is wrong? If the mulch hasn't been repaired or renewed, then what else have they not really cared about? If the driveway hasn't been cleaned, then what else has been ignored? And so these are the thoughts that start going through a buyer's head. And I want to remind you that as a seller, the number one thing you need is to get a buyer out of their analytical mind. As a seller, you have to get a buyer out of their analytical mind and into their more creative space, right? That place where they're just open, where they are there to experience the property instead of to pick it apart. But you have to remove these obstacles because people want to feel intelligent. They want to feel smart. They want to feel like they can sniff out the good from the bad, and they'll hold on to these little things. So the number one thing is deferred maintenance. Make sure you get it addressed. The second thing that matters in staging is, again, probably not what you're thinking. I'm not going to tell you about the sectional or any of that. What matters is color. Because what is staging for at the end of the day? Staging is for two purposes. One is that when people are there at the property, they're having a better experience. It creates a better flow and it just feels like a home. But the other thing is, remember that the first showing is always online. And when the first showing is online, I want you to put yourself in the mind of a buyer that's just come home from a long day of work. They're tired, they've gone through a lot. They finally sit down, pull up their favorite website, search bedroom count, neighborhood, price point, up comes the list of homes, and they start to click away, home after home after home. And remember, the buyer didn't just start looking today, the day you came on the market. They've been in zombie mode for months sometimes. And so they just need to know, as they go through property after property after property, they need the color in the photos to pop. So the staging should have colorful elements. Elements that maybe you don't like, that maybe would not be your first choice, but that as they're scrolling have enough pop in them, contrast, that it'll just jump out. I can't tell you how many homes I've been in personally where it looks great in person. It's maybe even exactly what I would do in my own home, yet you go and look at the photo and it's kind of like white on cream on beige, right? And so it all blends, and then when this person is flipping photo after photo after photo, listing after listing after listing online, there's nothing that jumps out at them and differentiates your photo from all of the others that they've been looking at, and you could easily be passed up and they could think that they've already seen your particular offering when in fact they have not. So the second thing that is absolutely needed once you've addressed all the deferred maintenance is you have to have a pop of color all throughout the staging to enhance the photography, to get then more eyeballs on it, more people there, more showing requests, and more competition. And the third thing that you're gonna want in your staging is that first impression as you walk through the house. So sometimes people say, well, what rooms should be staged? And yes, there are some generic answers. The generic answers would be, of course, the master bedroom, the family or living room, the kitchen, even the powder room, maybe a secondary bedroom, and you can oftentimes leave the others on their own, maybe just do one secondary bedroom. But regardless of those generic answers, whatever room you walk into, if it's a foyer, if it's a dining area, if it's a living area, if it's just some kind of presentation space, no matter where you're walking into a home, everything in view. So not just that space, but literally all rooms in view from when they walk through that front door, they have to be staged. And what happens is, if we can craft and create, if we can really control that first impression, and they move to the next room and it's beautiful, and to the next, well, by the time they get to space 5, 6, and 7 of the house, they don't necessarily have to be staged. That money can stay in your pocket. You don't have to invest it because their mind's already said to them, this is an awesome house. This feels good. It's been taken care of. I see myself here. And so by the time they get to those future rooms, you don't have to have invested in them, but you do have to have everything in view, absolutely staged beautifully. And just to answer a question you haven't yet asked, but maybe you will, where do you put everything as you're decluttering? The garage. The garage is that one place that, I never tell people you have to go get a storage. Now, of course, if you don't have a garage, you might have to. You might have to get a pod. But if you have a garage, that's the one place where clutter, boxes, and all the rest of it is excused, because by the time, again, that the buyer gets there, A, they understand you're moving, and B, they've already decided that they love your home. So that's just 3 things that matter in staging. A lot of the rest of the conversation is overrated, and if we can help you make smart decisions and make this whole thing easy, you just let us know. I'm Dan Beer here with Beer Home Team at eXp Realty, named by the San Diego Business Journal as the top team in all of San Diego County. We'd love to help you make a smooth move. Just let us know how we can help, and we'll see you on the next one.